everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're taking a look at the elimination battles from the first season of Street Woman Fighter. This series of battles is going to be from YGX and La Chica. So I know that at this point, La Chica has already kind of battled through an elimination already, but we get to see them here again against YGX, and I believe they come out on top here as well. So as we watch each battle, I kind of understand how the results are going to be, and that's how I may tailor some of my feedback. So we're going to go ahead and take a look.
DJ ready?
All right, we got YERI versus RIAN from La Chica. All right, who's going to go first? Here she is. Ooh.
We the best music. DJ Khaled.
I don't know if you can take it.
Yeah.
No, you wanna see me naked. I wanna be a baby.
Yeah.
Spin it in as much as I can get from Maytag.
I really like RIAN. I like her pocket. It's so different than what we've seen from her before in other eliminations. That was nice. I love that. Nice. She knows how to take risks, and I really appreciate that in the battle scene. Whenever she's moving, she doesn't seem like she's being too stagnant. YERI is not taking the I'm trying to one-up you, but she's collaborating with her, and I like that. It's different than what we've seen from her.
YERI.
But this is one of the most iconic breaking tracks you could break to. Let's go, girl. But I know they said that she was struggling to hear. Begging you. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Come on, let's go, girl. Yeah. Yes. Oh, so fun. Yes, ma'am. Woo. Yeah. Yeah. She's gonna freeze? Not cheating. Okay. Oh, and it's going at the same time? Okay, here we go.
YERI.
She's gonna hear it? Like, part of me, like, wants to help her. Yeah, so you notice that YERI's kind of riding more of that bass. It's probably because it's really hard to hear the other parts of the music. Yeah! What's interesting is she does take a hot second to kind of set up what she does. Hey.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. So that was a pretty solid round. Now, part of me, I actually looked at YERI's back and it said Yell on it. It's YELL. But when you look at her Korean name, it's Ye and then Lee. So it's like YERI or REE. So for me, I've been always putting it YERI. I don't know. But I've been seeing a lot of people put Yell. That could just be like the English translation that they've just gone with because it's just easier to pronounce. I don't know. But I do see both. I'm just gonna stay cohesive with. If I say YERI, I am referring to Yell. YERI kind of goes both. But I've called her that the whole time. I'm gonna kind of stick through it through here. Okay, going from the top. I've already said this with RIAN. Something that really worked in her favor here is the fact that she took a different approach from what we've seen her in her eliminations already, because the fight judges, they're human and they're naturally going to compare. The more a group is in the eliminations, the bigger the disadvantage they're operating out of, because their creative stamina is going to be less and less in comparison to another crew who's freshly in the eliminations. La Chica had to come up with more sets, more 5v5s, more 2v2s, more 1v1s. So, and I know with the 1v1s some more freestyle, but just that physical demand of the stamina that is required to create and bring something different than what you've already brought is very difficult, especially for those who may not be heavy in the freestyle scene. Now, I'm not really saying or projecting that onto La Chica. There's a good chance that they are. in multiple communities, but different communities of different styles does require different creative outlets or different creative demands. And so this track is very different than a lot of the other tracks we've seen them dance and perform to. So I'm very impressed with her. Do I think that some of her movement, like she's taking more breaks or breathers in between her movement? And maybe it's not quite as clear and concise in her movement, possibly. I do like that it's a different pocket, but she is riding in that second position. And what I mean by second is that there's the first position where your heels are connecting. Second position is when your legs are extended out to the elbow length. She's really hanging out more in that second position line or territory, and that could make her movement and variations appear to be more similar. Like there's more similarities within that that could be disadvantageous, especially against a competitor like YERI. Now, I really love this choice she made. She took advantage of the opportunity. YERI dropped, so she did a fan kick. That was a really nice moment. It reminded me of Waxy and Kirsten, but that one was like a super wow moment. Holy crap, how in the world did they do that? The timing of that, but that was really nice. I love that choice that she made. That right there. She also is operating at an advantage because she can hear her music, all the nuances of the track. And I know that's been an ongoing issue for YERI, is just not being able to hear it as well. And now it is nice if you notice that YERI is approaching this very differently. And I know a lot of you said there was no beef, and I agree with you. There's probably no beef that happened. It just really looked like it, or they really painted it in that picture. She's probably frustrated because she couldn't hear her music very well, so she was not able to give her best, at least in those circumstances. But here, she is complimenting what RIAN is doing, and that's what makes me enjoy elimination battles, because sometimes you get these types of interactions in comparison to the I'm gonna one up you, like a Mina Myung Leah Kim situation, trying to one up each other. She complimented her, which was really nice through movement. That's YERI. Notice she's trying to listen. This is probably one of the best tracks you could have given her. This really is probably, whenever you think breaking, one of the 2000s breaking track, this was the track. Because it's just, you could do so much to it, you know? So I think the familiarity really helped here. Her setup, just doing some footwork, trying to gauge into some top rocks. I think she's really trying to calibrate her body into getting into the beat. She probably has some sense of insecurity because of just the sound. And I really hate that for her. But this right here, this was phenomenal. Just the windmills, backspins, flips it up. It's just that what she's doing is very difficult to do. It is. Unless you train in breaking. Does that make sense? You, as somebody who, if you just learn choreography, or if you're a choreography skill set dancer, you don't just learn that. Like, you can't just figure that out. You have to train and get hurt, and you have to trial and error it, because everybody's body is different, and how you hold and your freeze and your transitions between your windmill is so different. I love her variations. This is very difficult, and no one else can do what she's doing. No one can. And that's something that we can't discredit. You know what I'm saying? I love that. I feel like we've seen something similar to that in the challenge that I think they were put up for elimination for. It was the Man of Woman challenge. She did that with her partner. There. I love that. I love that. Honestly, if we're looking at difficulty, YERI had the significantly more difficult set through and through, and matched her music most effectively. She really brought to the table it was more on the simpler side, some of her stuff, but it's stuff that people cannot do. Do you know what I mean? So I think, like, whenever you measure it out, it's okay, with RIAN, a lot of those people can replicate what she does. Not many people can replicate what YERI just did. So there's that. Now with the rematch, I feel like it's what brought it a little bit more on the even playing field, because RIAN really, you know, is she repeating a pocket? She is. She's doing something similar than what she did earlier, which could be a double-edged sword. I've always mentioned this. Whenever a new track is on, I feel like I said this about Emma whenever it was Let's Cup versus 1. Emma got lucky and fortunate against her opponent, Gabby, because Gabby had a really femme pocket she explored, and then whenever she performed in the rematch, she really didn't explore or match her music as effectively as Emma did. Emma's track that she did before, as well as her track here in her rematch, it matched really well in her pocket, and how she was exploring and hitting the music worked really well in her favor. Now going to here, you see that both of them are able to hit this pocket. RIAN, all she's really got to do is explore different textures outside of the legato into into more of the staccato. So they do sound counterintuitive. So when I say legato, it's very smooth. So she's hitting a lot of waving body rolls, a lot of legato smooth textures, and whenever she's hitting harder textures, it's originating from the chest or the extremities. So it's kind of isolated. She's not really exploring as much outside of the lean over, you know, with the hinge of the body, or she's really just kind of melting, but keeping that second position that I've already mentioned before. I wouldn't use that term. I'd use that term loosely here, but it's just having those feet separated. She's not really exploring the transitions of going to the floor as much either, and that's another note as well. YERI goes to the floor, at least in what we've seen from the camera. But how YERI sets up her stuff is more slower than RIAN, and it feels like she's lagging a little bit before she gets into it. Now, that's a risky run. YERI goes to the floor. That's great. RIAN does not, you know, and I think that's another indicator she's not utilizing her levels outside of the midline, and that also can show that you're running out of steam, you're not quite invested in the set as much, or you're not thinking through your whole set. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I would say for this match, including the rematch, I would have to give it to YERI because she utilized her floor, her levels, her technique, and she matched the pocket of both her tracks. RIAN did a great job, very different than what she did before, and I love that because she did more of heavier in whacking in her previous elimination battle rounds, right? And so I'm very much like, they definitely, she held her own, but I really think YERI brought more difficulty to her set. She did things that most people cannot do. Even those 5 judges, most of them cannot do what she does, right? Something's to be said about that. And so if you don't know how to, I mean, as a judge, if you're looking at it from a judge lens, if you are looking at people's content, you have to think about replicability or amount of time it takes to replicate something. So the turnaround time to learn something like RIAN's technique is not quite as extensive as learning the sequences or the movements and techniques that YERI does, right? And regardless if you're isolated within those toolkits that you choose to explore, that's how you can best objectively adjudicate differences in style, but difficulty within the replication of those styles, if that makes sense. So I would have given this to YERI for what I've already mentioned above, and I think at this round it does appear that she was able to hear her music more dominantly here, and if not, I'm still very impressed because she stayed on beat, which was super cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was helpful in some way. With these elimination battles, I really feel that we're just able to see just different sides of these crews that we normally don't get to see in the challenges or in the initial battles. So part of me loves seeing them and seeing the crews that are in these eliminations, but part of me is not, because that means one of the crews are not surviving the eliminations. And I do know at this point, season 2, we do have one more grouping of elimination battles that are going to be taking place, and we have no idea who's going to be in them. And I just can't wait to look at that alongside you guys. It's going to be wild, and I don't know if I'm ready for it, but we'll get through it together and it'll be good. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.